Why have none of us ever mentioned this in the morning on the show? Now, don't get too excited. It's not a replacement for any of the current visas for entering Portugal. You'll have to have been in Portugal for 5 years. But for those of you who are thinking, well, it'll be nice if I could use my residency visa here to go and live, work, and study in other EU countries on a long-term basis with a permit, this could be it. And as I say this with some hesitancy. I don't know anyone who's got one. I'd never heard of it before until this last weekend. But long-term resident status is an EU directive status for third country nationals who have legally. So third country is not Portugal and not the EU. That's the working definition I should go with this morning. Who have legally and continuously lived in an EU member state for at least 5 years. And we're going to go with the Portuguese version of it here, of course. It grants the holder. So OLP, you could use this. You could be in France for 5 years and then come and live longer than a tourist would be able to in Portugal. It grants the holder greater rights, including the ability to work, study, and reside in other EU countries than you would get if you're a tourist, and provides more stability than a temporary permit. So it's a permanent permit. It's not a temporary permit. The status requires a stable and regular income, health insurance, and a clean record. I am assuming that's a clean criminal record. Key benefits: probably a clean taxation record as well, though. I imagine finances would be using that moment to check up on you as well. Key benefits are enhanced mobility. The status allows you to live and work in other EU countries more easily than with a standard residence permit, although you may need to meet certain conditions in the new country as well. So where you're going will be a whole load of other 30 plus. No, it's not. Is it 27 members? How many member states are there in the EU now? But anyway, they'll have their own particular requirements of you. You'll get equal treatment. You are treated equally with nationals regarding work, study, and access to services. Stability: it provides indefinite residence rights, and where did I go to? And strengthens security of tenure from temporary to permanent. Eligibility then: legal residency. You must have lived legally and continuously in an EU member state for at least 5 years. You must be financially stable. You must have stable and regular income to support yourself and your family without relying on social assistance. Health insurance: you must have health insurance that covers all risks in the member state. Accommodation: you need to have a place to live. And integration, on that note, you may be required to meet national integration requirements such as language proficiency. That's going to depend on the country of your destination of choosing. How to apply then? Apply in the EU country where you have been residing legally for 5 years. I'd love to hear from someone who's done this. The application process involves providing proof of your legal conditions and continuous residence, financial stability, and health insurance. In Portugal, applications are processed by IMA, the Agency for Integration, Migration and Asylum, of course, and your family members must also meet the requirements individually to apply for their own status there. And Antonio F., as I said, jumped in quick. Then the card needs to be renewed every 5 years. It is a 5-year permit. But he had no other corrections to my reporting there. And there is the link for doing it. And I shall put that into the chat for you so you can take a look for yourself on that. How amazing is that? And why is it we've never heard of it? I wonder. Okay, I didn't know that. No.